Hi guys, I'm going to film an FAQ, a frequently asked questions video today, and I thought it might be a good placeholder for my welcome video as well. So if you are seeing this for the first time, you've never been to my channel before, or you've perhaps just visited my channel page to see what else I have here, then hello, welcome to my channel. I've had a lot of kind of new viewers. I don't know if they've come over from my other channel or just randomly found it recently and asking a lot of the same questions, so I thought I would address them, and it would also kind of be a get to know me kind of video that you might be interested in as well. I do have other places online aside from my social media accounts like Twitter and all those things. I have two other YouTube channels that I am on, one of which is my main channel, my Miss Budget Beauty channel. If you've already been there you will know, but perhaps you're finding this one first. That's basically where I talk all kind of lower cost beauty products in theory, occasionally some higher end stuff and my favourite stuff and you know, all that kind of thing, and that will be linked below. I also have a collaborative channel with Emma from ItsEmChannel, and we talk about kind of DIYs. We do multiple chats on various different topics, cooking, some travel-y kind of stuff, all over on that channel, and everything will be linked below. So if you are enjoying my content, you want to see more, there's lots of other stuff out there if you want to see it. It's always linked in the information bar of my videos. So moving on to the FAQs, I'm gonna hopefully whiz through them. I am one to ramble. If you don't like long chatty videos, you'll probably just click off now because you'll hate everything that I put out there. But I've had a lot of questions that are the same, and I thought I would take to Instagram and see what your other questions might be, and I got so many of the same questions again that I've just kind of picked out the most frequently asked questions. Shock, that would be the title of the video. So number one would be, how old are you? I get this a lot, and it kind of, I don't feel like I don't feel like I am ambiguous when it comes to my age. I kind of feel like I look as old as I am. I feel like I look as old as the other people that are my age. I'm 29. I feel like the reason perhaps that I get this question is because I have two children, which is another question. How many children do you have? I have two. I have Milo, who's 4, and I have Ella, who's 9. No, Milo's 3, nearly 4. Ella's 9, nearly 10. Can't remember how old my children are. And I think because I do have children, people kind of tend to assume that you're going to be older. Because, I don't know, perhaps we're of that age now where people aren't having children as young as they used to. People are waiting later in life, and I feel like that's why the question comes up as often as it does. So I am 29, I'll be 30 in February. I'm very excited about it. No nerves. I felt 35 since I was about 21, so I'm cool with it. I feel like I've just had bonus years. So that's my age. Second question, are you married? Yes, I am. I was actually married to Ella's dad when I was much younger. I did have her when I was 19, and I did the thing that I thought you should do. I thought you should kind of stay together and get married and make it work, and there was nothing, you know, empirically wrong with that relationship, but it wasn't the all-encompassing love that I imagined that it would be, and I didn't think that you should settle at that age. I didn't feel like I should settle for anything less at 21 years old, and so we split up. I'm now married to Lee, and I couldn't be happier, and we have Milo. I have Ella half of the time. That is another frequently asked question. Where is Ella? That's actually probably the thing that's spurred this video on. Where is Ella? And sometimes where is Emily? She's called Ella. She's not in the vlogs as much as Milo for multiple reasons. Number one, she lives with her dad half of the time. That in itself is commented on and queried a lot. We decided to go 50-50 custody because there was no good reason not to. Her dad can have her half of the time, and why shouldn't he, in my opinion? I don't think that it should be automatic that the woman gets the majority of the time with the child. I just don't, you know, it's completely up to the individual and the circumstances, but I think that if the dad wants to be as involved as possible, then he should be. And so that's how we do it. We work around each other kind of holidays wise and stuff. So if we go on holiday, then he will have Ella, and if he goes on holiday, we will have Ella. And you know, we just kind of work around each other's schedules. It's all very, very amicable. I'm very, very lucky to have a really good relationship with my ex-husband, and that enables us to have this kind of shared co-parenting situation that is actually much, much easier than you might expect. But that's part of the reason that she's not in the vlogs. Another part of the reason is she goes to school full time. She's nearly 10. And the main reason, because she has been in the vlogs in the past and then not so much in recent years, is because as she gets older, I just fear for not only her safety, because people might recognise her on the street when she's not with me, because I'm not with her all the time. When she's not with her dad, she could be with my parents, she could be with childcare. You know, she might not necessarily be with me and someone might recognise her, and I don't want to put her in that situation. I don't like that. And people did kind of recognise her before they recognised me in the past when they approached us to say hello, and that just made me a little bit nervous. Secondly, I think when you get to the age that she's at, where it's very internet focused, her kind of age group at the moment, they're all on iPads and on the computers and stuff, and I would never want my videos to be a source of any embarrassment for her, especially if she's in them, and then for me to have to take down every video that I've ever made that she could possibly be in, just in case it could be embarrassing. And so I try to keep her in the vlogs to a minimum. I do show her from time to time, and she's not, you know, it's not that she's not there, it's not that I don't care. Very much love both of my children equally. It's just that I don't feel like at nearly 10 years old I want to expose her to that. There's a lot of bad people online, there's a lot of mean people, people can leave nasty comments, and she's of an age where she could go and read those comments before I get to them. And so there's just so many reasons, and that they are kind of just the main ones that I can think of. But you know, she's still here, she's with me half of the time. Milo will be kind of phasing out the same way. He's going to school half days in September and then full days next year. So, you know, you'll probably see less of him as well, but he's still here. We're not keeping them in cupboards, haven't locked Ella away. She still lives with us. Are you a full-time YouTuber is another question that I get. I was for a while contemplating becoming a full-time YouTuber or blogger. You know, I have my blog and my YouTube channels, and it does take up a tremendous amount of time. And it is an income that I could feasibly live off. But there are a couple of reasons that I didn't want to do that. And I'm never going to say never. You don't know what might happen. Recently, we were up for redundancy at work and I just didn't know what was going to happen. For those of you that were asking, and thank you so much for those of you that kind of sent kind words and stuff about that. Those of you that are asking, we're actually fine and we're not being made redundant, and you know, lots of things went on at work and there were a lot of voluntary redundancies. There's a huge company. And so it didn't happen to affect us in the end. But you never know what might happen, and so if I did lose this job, I probably wouldn't go out and find another one. When Milo goes to school, this is another thing people want to know, when Milo goes to school full-time, I won't necessarily go out and work full-time, because this does take up a lot of my time, and it means that now when he does start going to school a few hours a day in September, the time that I'm taking out of my family time to make these videos and at night time when I'm blogging and editing and uploading will now be taken up in the daytime, and I'll have a little bit of time carved out to legitimately work from home rather than work around Milo. I wasn't really staying home 3 days a week as a stay-at-home mom. I just happened to have a job via YouTube and blogging that allowed me to stay with him for the majority of the time. But I really like going out to work. It gives me a little bit of routine. It's a real social aspect that you don't get from blogging and making YouTube videos. It is a social thing in theory. Making videos, and you guys that are watching this will comment, I'll comment back, and it feels social on a level, but on so many other levels, it's such a lonely activity. And I don't know what I would do if I lived alone and I blogged and made videos. I probably would attend more events, because that's really the only social aspect that you have. And because I don't live in London, we live in the north, in Yorkshire, and I just live so far away from things like that. I don't attend stuff like that often enough for it to feel very social. And so I really like keeping a part-time job to keep the routine. It is a little bit of stability money-wise, because you just never know what might happen when you're self-employed. I mean, you know, someone could hack everything, delete everything, and it's all gone overnight. You just don't know what's happened or what might happen. And so I like to keep a job for a few different reasons, but it's mainly the kind of social aspect for me. I like going to work and seeing the same people all the time, and I think I would miss it. But I'm not planning on going back to work full time, and I'm not planning on becoming a full-time YouTuber. I think it makes you a bit more relevant as well. Like, I can relate to people more that have at least held full-time jobs in the past. You know, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that just went straight into it from school or from university, and that's fine. There are lots of people that can relate to them on a lot of different levels, and I'm no way in any way am I saying that it's not work, because it is, but it's a less relatable form of work. Not a lot of people in regular workplaces can look at YouTube and realize how much work goes into it, and so I like to see people that do a little bit of both and a little mixture. So I kind of like to think that adds to something that I can give as well. What is your job is the next question. It's a question that I get so much, and I just think it's kind of a strange question, because obviously I'm not going to tell you who I work for or where I work, because security. Don't know if that's a safe thing to do, but basically it's an office job. I work in a railway company, and it's to do with kind of shifts and things for train drivers. In a nutshell, nothing remotely related to blogging, YouTube, anything like that. Lots of people assume that YouTubers and bloggers have kind of beauty related jobs, but not at all. I'm kind of glad that I have that completely different job, because it balances things out, and I feel like again, it gives you a slightly more objective view of things. I'm not looking at things from a professional perspective. I am still looking at them from a consumer perspective. And so I think it's good to have a job that's not related to beauty. It kind of gives me a little bit of respite from lipstick, perhaps, when it's kind of all getting a little bit too cosmetic. What was the last question? Are you having any more kids? I don't think we've covered this already. I did start filming this, and then the plumber arrived that I wasn't expecting, so I had to stop and start again, which is probably for the best, because it was even more rambly than this, the first one that I shot. Are you having more kids? No. But never say never. I can't tell you for sure we'll never have more children. It's not the plan right now. I think that it's a really nice little family unit that we have, and it works for us, especially with having Ella half of the time. There's just so many things that kind of come into the mix when you have one child that you co-parent that doesn't live with you 100% of the time. And I feel like if we had more children, that divide might be more vast for Ella. I like that we have what we have. And you know, like I say, you never know. But I feel like what we have right now, it works for us. We're kind of over the main hill of, oh my god, these children are driving me mad, you know, when they're so young and they don't sleep. Milo's still a little bit like that, and we had some real tough times with Ella up until only a few years ago with sleepless nights and stuff. So I feel like we're kind of getting over that, and to the point where we can take both of them places and we'll all have a good time. We'll see. We're just about to go on holiday, only in the UK, but still, all sleeping in the same place. We're going to see how that goes. This is kind of our test to see if we can go on a big holiday next year. But I don't know. It's not the plan. We are planning on getting a dog. I always said once my littlest one wasn't a baby anymore, which is killing me, but Milo technically isn't. He's kind of regressing, and he's being very like babyish at the moment, but he's not technically a baby anymore. And I always said once my little one isn't a baby anymore, I'll probably get a baby substitute in the form of a dog. And we're looking at French bulldogs, which you can't get much more baby substitute than that, these little baby tiny dogs. So we're hoping that we will be able to get a dog very soon. We do need to wait and see whether or not our landlord will allow it. Fingers crossed. Everyone keep their fingers crossed for that. Which is another thing, actually, that people ask about. We do rent this house. We've just moved into this one, but we rented the other one as well. A few different reasons, mainly because most of my income comes from self-employment, and so it's tough to kind of find lenders that will give you a good rate of interest on a mortgage and even lend you the amount of money that you want when you haven't got all of the paperwork and stuff that you need. So I recently employed an accountant, and fingers crossed, in a few years' time we can do that. But to be honest, I've been a renter now for like 6 years, and I've also had a mortgage in the past. And I know people say, oh, security and it's dead money and all that stuff. I have nothing against renting. There are plenty of places in the world where renting is commonplace, and it's just like the main culture is to rent. It just happens in the UK, most people buy their houses. And I think there are so many benefits to renting a house, especially when you're self-employed and you don't know necessarily that you have a guaranteed income. If something terrible goes wrong, then you can get help. And that's why you pay tax, isn't it? Lots and lots of tax. And you don't get that kind of help if you own your own house. So I don't know, there's swings and roundabouts. There's definitely good and bad to both, but I have no problem with renting. I'm not like desperate to buy or anything. It'll probably happen in the future, but for now I'm kind of cool with what we're doing. So yeah, hopefully that was a bit of a get to know me. If you have got any other questions, if you want me to do kind of like a 10 random facts or something, I have done them in the past, but not for years. Because when you first start a YouTube channel, that's kind of what you do to get yourself confident in front of the camera and you want to talk, and that's kind of how you start making videos when you haven't got anything to talk about. And I feel like I haven't done one in ages and ages. I'll probably just end up telling you the same facts that I did all those years ago, but yeah, it might be interesting to do an update. So let me know if you'd want to see a follow-up like that. And if this is the first video that you're watching of mine, it's a super long welcome intro, so sorry about that. But it probably is a really good example of a video that you're going to find on this channel or on any of the other channels that I'm on. So if you liked this, you'll probably like the other ones. Don't forget to subscribe if you do, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!